the Party of Communist USA. This is a most important meeting of our commission because this will emphasize the internationalist character of our mission, the internationalist concern of our members, and the universality of the Marxist-Leninist perspective to solve the problems of the worldwide working class. With us today, Sankar Ghosh, the General Secretary of the AIKKMS, the Peasants' Union wing of the Socialist Unity Party of India. Sankar will be speaking to us on the recent success of the peasant movement against the neoliberal BJP government of India. We will have a question and answer session to follow. But before we begin, let us have a couple of words from the General Secretary of the Party of Communist USA, Dr. Angelo D'Angelo.
Yeah, welcome. Greetings to our comrades in the United States and in India. This is a pleasure to host this meeting, and let us hear the struggle that you are struggling against the government in India. So we want to thank you. We're not going to waste any more time. Let us start the program.
Thank you, Sankar. It's all yours. You need to unmute yourself, Sankar.
Should I just start?
Now you
Yes.
can start.
Oh, thank you. Comrades and friends, allow me to express my heartfelt congratulations to the Agricultural and Rural Commission of the Party of the Communist United States of America for providing me this opportunity to express our views on the glorious peasant movement in Delhi since last 13 months. Comrades, our joint journey, our fraternal journey started some months before. And I think this journey, this hand in hand going, will be strengthened in future. So red salute to all of you who is attending this discussion. Comrades, imagine a picture. Imagine a picture. Peasants with their kith and kins, with their relatives, with their sons and daughters, with their friends, with their husbands and wives, in a numbering million, came to the border of Delhi, in the different borders of Delhi, in Singhu border, Tikri border, Ghazipur border, Shahjahanpur border, Dhasa border, and they sat under the open sky, in the beating cold, in the storm and rain, in the scorching heat, and they are dying one after another. In this process, 700 of our peasants, of our comrades, of our fighting friends sacrificed their lives. But they are undaunted. Their slogan was, "We shall fight till our goal is achieved." हम लड़ेंगे, हम जीतेंगे. We will fight, you will win. A family came, comrades, from the remotest village of Punjab, nearing the border of Pakistan. 5 members came. Father, mother, elder brother, 2 daughters. First father died. Then mother died. Then brother died. Only 2 teenager girls remained. But those girls were in this struggle till the last. I met a 95 years old lady. I asked her, "Mother, why are you here? In this beating cold, you will die. Please go home." She smiled and told me, "My son, how long I will live in this beautiful world? How long? 1 year, 2 years? I have decided that rest of my life I will be here in this struggle with you, with the peasants, with my sons and daughters." Friends, this type of undaunted heroism, conviction, made our struggle victorious. This conviction ultimately forced the corporates, forced the multinationals and their mentors, central government, central BJP government led by Mr. Narendra Modi, to bow down, and we achieved victory. We are very much proud. This is a golden moment in the history of the peasant movement, in the history of the democratic mass movement, not only in our country, but also all over the world. We are proud of our struggling peasants, as because they have written a glorious chapter in history, glorious chapter in the democratic movement in history. So salute to those peasants who struggled so hard and sacrificed their lives. But at the same time, we think that our struggle is not over, comrade. Our struggle have just begun. Yet so many things to do. Yet our society is a divided society under the rule of capital. Daily and hourly we are feeling the oppression and suppression of the capitalist class. Our struggle will continue till we can abolish the rule of capital, destroy the capitalist state machinery, and will establish a socialist one. Comrades, we the workers, leaders and cadres of AIKKMS, All India Kisan and Helpful Sangatan, was in the movement from the very inception of the movement. Not only we, the members and cadres and leaders of the AIKKMS, but all the mass and platforms of our party, Socialist Center of India Communists, our students wing, AIDSO, All India Democratic Students Organization, our youth wing, All India Democratic Youth Organization, our women wing, All India Mahila Sanskritik Sangathan, our trade union, All India United Trade Union Center, our medical front, medical service center, and all class and mass fronts under the leadership of the party, SNCI Communist, were in the movement wholeheartedly from the very inception of the movement, taking guidance from the party leadership, especially our beloved General Secretary, Sankar Ghosh, arming ourselves with the thoughts of Comrade Sankar Ghosh, the great Marxist thinkers of the era, guided us, with us. He showed us the way, how to live, how to die, how to work for the masses, and what is the actual meaning of the revolutionary movement, actual meaning of the mass movement, and how to convert the mass movement into a revolutionary one. Comrade Sankar Ghosh taught us, and with his teachings in our soul, in our heart, in our mind, we struggled hard, we did our best to achieve this victory, comrade. Comrade Sankar Ghosh showed us long before that India is a capitalist state. Indian agriculture is also developed capitalistically. Though it is clear, agriculture of USA, agriculture of UK is far more developed. Our agriculture, in comparison to agriculture of USA and UK and Western European countries, is less developed. Yes, yet it is a capitalist agriculture. Its produce is the commodity not only of international market but also of national market, but also of international market. Their production takes place workers-owner relation. That is why it is a capitalist state, capitalist agriculture. And due to this capitalist exploitation, Comrade Sankar Ghosh showed constantly land is going out of the hands of the common peasantry. And the number of agricultural workers is increasing day by day. And what is the scenario in agriculture in India now? Out of 140 million holdings in India, 94 million holding is in the hands of the poor and marginal peasantry. In a sense, they are practically the agricultural workers. Their monthly income is less than 4,000 rupees on an average. Land is going out their hands. No work in the villages. They are forced to go in the towns as a worker, as a migrant worker. And in this corona period, we see millions and millions of migrant workers, and they are committing suicide. There is no system of purchasing agricultural produce in the remunerative price. Cost of production is soaring and soaring to the eternity, just like the skylark of P.B. Shelley, soaring and soaring and soaring to eternity. Nobody knows where it will stop. That's why dead burden is there. In the last 6 years, debt burden of each agricultural family increased by 65%. 80% people of India earns only 20 rupees a day. They are tremendously poverty-stricken. They are tremendously, their condition is very much miserable. In each 12 seconds, a peasant commits suicide in India. In every 12 seconds. In last 15 years, more than 4 lakh peasants committed suicide in India. I can tell you whole day the miserable scenario, the miserable condition of the Indian people, Indian agricultural people, Indian peasants and Indian agricultural workers. This is the reflection of the capitalist exploitation in our rural areas. Adding to that, after 1990, a new phenomena arose internationally. New economic policy, privatization, commercialization, etc., etc. As a result of that, all inputs of agricultural production, fertilizer, pesticides, water, electricity, seeds, all have gone to the hands of the multinationals. And the multinationals, being the sole proprietor of all these agricultural inputs, enhance the price of all these commodities. The price of seeds even increased by 20 times. Fertilizer by 6 to 7 times. Electricity by 3, 4, 5, 6 times in different states. All these things enhance the cost of production further. So our peasantry realized what is the actual meaning of privatization. Privatization is for the capitalists. Privatization by the capitalists. Privatization of the capitalists, of the multinationals, of the corporates, of home and abroad. Privatization will give the public, give the peasants nothing. This is the actual meaning of the privatization. So our agricultural community, when saw the 3 farm laws, pro-corporate farm laws passed in the parliament by the BJP government, they were very much anxious. What will happen if these 3 laws passed in the parliament is ultimately materialized? All the essential commodities will go in the hands of the corporates. All the essential commodities, rice, wheat, dal, fish, meat, milk, all the things which is needed every day, essential commodities will go in the hands of Adani's, Ambani's, corporates, Pepsi, Cola, Monsanto. What will happen? The peasant felt we will lose our land, we will lose our profession, we will lose our everything. So it should be stopped at any cost. It should be stopped at any cost. So the peasants came forward, gathered in millions, take oath that we will foil the heinous design of the capitalist imperialist class at any cost. We will force the government, force the multinationals to repeal the 3 black acts. And that is why they came out, leaving their sweet home, leaving their kith and kin, leaving their agricultural profession, leaving their field, leaving their everything, came to the borders of Delhi with this mind. Kanun wapsi to ghar wapsi. It means you have to repeal the act until and unless we will not go to our sweet home. Somebody asked them, how long you will be here? How long? They answered, our peasants answered, how long it is necessary to make the government and multinationals go down. Up till then, we shall be here in this border under the open sky. We will sacrifice our life. Hundreds and hundreds, if necessary, thousands and thousands will do it. But we will not go home until and unless it is not repealed. And ultimately, they forced the government to go down. You know that. In the history of parliamentary system, nothing happened earlier. In the parliamentary system, which started in Europe and America, then in India, this type of things did not happen. A government who passed the act in a parliament, that same government in the same parliament is placing a bill to repeal that law, repeal that act. This type of thing never happened in the world before. That's why we say our peasantry created history. What was the dream of the multinationals? They passed the bill on the 5th of September 2022, place 20. They legalized the bill in the parliament in the 19th of September 2020. That was in the corona period, lockdown period. Government thought that easily they will be able to introduce these 3 bills, 3 acts, easily. Why now it is lockdown? Nobody will be able to go out. This is an opportunity. In this lockdown period, they privatized rail, they privatized bank, they privatized LIC, and all these things in our industry. Similarly, they will be able to privatize our entire agricultural field, our entire agriculture. Easily, they thought in this way. Why they thought in this way? They thought it was everybody was in their favor. All opposition parties, including Congress, was their favor. All mainstream media was in their favor. All intellectuals, economists, practically was in their favor. Practically, Supreme Court was in their favor. The apex body of Indian judiciary, Supreme Court, was in their favor. Administration was in their favor. So the BJP government thought this pro-corporate 3 farm acts, they can introduce easily. They did not count peasants. They did not count. What the peasants will do? They are ignorant, unorganized, having no knowledge of the world. They can't speak English. They know nothing of the world. They know nothing of the economy. So what this unorganized, helpless peasantry will do against this mighty power of multinationals? In this way they thought. but they miscalculated the strength, the power of the common people. They miscalculated. We know from the history, we know from the teachings of Marx, Engels, Lenin, Stalin, Mao Zedong, Comrade Sankar Ghosh, the giant Marxist leaders of the international proletariat, that it is not the heroes that determine the course of history. It is the people, toiling people, that determines the course of history. It is the people that creates everything, that creates invented agriculture, animal husbandry, bow, sheep, everything, which we call in a word civilization. These common people, helpless and helpless people, is the creator of this civilization. And they can change the course of history. That was the teachings of Marx. That was the teachings of historical materialism, you know. That's why they told us again and again, go to the masses, live with them, learn from them, organize them in thousands, and help them in creating their political power. Marx told at that period in Europe, it is this working class people without education, without shelter, without food. They had the power to crush capitalism and build up scientific society. That is the teaching of the great leaders of the proletariat. Another thing, our rulers did not feel. That is India's glorious past of peace and movement. India is a land of peace and movement. India is mainly an agricultural country, you know. Here the history of peace and movement, glorious history of peace and movement. In 1759, we saw Sannyasi rebellion in Bengal, and it continued 41 years up to 800. We saw the Indigo rebellion. We saw the Sandal rebellion, where millions and millions of people participated against the British rule. We saw in Punjab, Pagri Sambhalo Andolan movement in 1906, where respected Ajit Singh, uncle of Shahid Azam Bhagat Singh, took the leadership. Pagri Sambhalo, Pagri means turban. Pagri indicates self-respect. Be aware of your self-respect. Don't purchase, don't buy, don't forgive your self-respect. Don't give up your self-respect. Be up and doing, fight. That was the call of Pagri Sambhalo Andolan of 1906. After that, at the fag end of British rule in India, 1946, a great movement developed that is called Tebhaga movement. Tebhaga is a Bengali word, means total crop production, 2/3 will be given to the sharecroppers. 1/3 is owner of the land. Give us 2/3 share of the crop, and 1/3 crop is for the landowner. That was the cry of that movement. Hundreds and hundreds of people shed their blood, murdered by the British imperialists. And after 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, the then Congress government, representative of the national bourgeoisie, took the baton of imperialism and murdered our peasants. 60 lakh, that means 6 million peasants participated, and movement continued for 5 years. In this way, there are so many movements in different parts of India. Mopala movement in Kerala. In Assam, there was a big movement. There are so many movements in the colonial period. And after when 1990, government prepared the policy for the multinationals of home and abroad, prepared a plan for snatching the land from the peasantry. Our peasants stood up to fight. You know one dictum of Marxism, you know. When capitalism is in crisis, social democrats are their best social support, you know. That is the teachings of Marxism, Lenin and Stalin particularly. When the capitalism is in crisis, social democrats are their dangerous social support. In West Bengal, the so-called pseudo-lefts was in the government. They invited Tata, an Indian multinational, and Salem, an Indo-Asian multinational. They told, come here, I am arranging agricultural land for you, evicting the thousands and thousands of peasants. In Shingur, 2,000 acres, and in Nandigram, 10,000 acres. Our peasantry stood firmly, shed their blood. This heinous government of the pseudo-lefts murdered, even raped our women, organizing the hooligans from different parts of the state. These pseudo-lefts showed their real face, how much they are eager to serve the multinationals of home and abroad, how their trust toward the servants of the multinationals they showed. But our peasantry stood firm and fought and defeated the planning, foiled the planning. Comrades, remember in India, this was the first victory of the peasants. First victory of the peasants was held in Nandigram and Shingur of West Bengal. Our party, AIKKMS Communists, and our peasant organization, AIKKMS, along with other frontal organizations whose name I mentioned earlier, participated in that movement, directed the course of that movement, and made this movement a victorious one. That was the first victory in India of the toiling peasants against the planning of the multinationals, spearheaded and guided by the pseudo-lefts in West Bengal. After that, seeing the instances of Shingur and Nandigram, so many movements erupted in India. Anti-Mittal movement in Odisha, anti-Sage movement in Bombay, in UP, in Uttar Pradesh, in Haryana, in different parts of the country, peasantry stood up against the forcible land grabbing of the multinationals. They foiled the planning of the multinationals. So this is the history. There is great movement which lasted 13 months, where millions and millions of peasantry participated, is not fall from the sky. It is the concomitant result. It is the development of this movement. All this movement against the land grabbing by the multinationals and inspire our peasantry in Punjab, in Haryana, the western part of the UP. That's why they came forward. That's why they came forward. That's why they took this oath. Like Shingur and Nondigram, like Mitta movement in Odisha, like anti-sage movement in different parts of the country. We will build up such a movement which will create a history. And that is so. That happened. That happened in. Naturally, a question comes to the mind of the people. Naturally, a question may come. Who are those organizers of the movement? This gigantic movement. Who are those organizers? Who organized it? This question is natural. Or what was the organization of the movement? It is clear. It is clear that no peasant organization can claim that we are the builder of this movement. No. We, the leaders and cadres of AIKKMS, we can't claim that we are the organizer of the movement. No, we can't. Any other peasant organization can't claim that we are the organizer. No political party can claim that we are the organizer. It evolved in the minds and hearts of the peasants out of the suppression and oppression of the capitalist class, of the multinationals, of home and abroad. This has erupted in their minds. One famous saying of Marx, it is not the thinking that determines life, it is the life that determines thinking. It is the objective reality in India which compelled the peasants to think in this way. What was the objective reality? I stated it earlier. The exploitation of multinationals, exploitation of capitalists. Everything is going out of their hand. Purchasing power gone out. Land is going out. Crisis in capitalism is continuously attacking the lives of the people. So there is no alternative other than to fight. This reality, this objective condition, compelled them. Adding to it, a long history of struggle of the Indian peasant, their experience of fighting things against colonial rule, against imperialism, against capitalism, against so many types of social injustice. This experience is huge experience in the history of Indian peasant movement. All these things coupled together gave birth to this. But does it mean that no organization has no role? No comment. That is the truth. The movement started on 24th of November 2000. The movement started. You see the history. Punjab people started from Amritsar, Haryana, Amritsar, Jalandhar, Patiala, and some other places. march to Delhi. There was a call, march to Delhi. And different parts of the country, from Haryana also, from UP also, in the different parts of the country, peasants are gathering nearby Delhi. But the BJP government, they are trying their best to resist this peasant march. And wage an onslaught on this peasant gathering. Then erupted anger. On 26th, people reached Delhi by breaking the barricades forming by the BJP governments in the roadways. Huge barricade they erupted. Peasantry broke that. And on 29th, to a meeting, Sangyukta Kisan Morcha formed. 29th of November, Sangyukta Kisan Morcha formed. Then it is crystal clear as daylight. Sangyukta Kisan Morcha then did not organize this movement. Rather, this movement organized SKM, in which our organization AIKKMS is an important part. What?
Sankar, we're running out of time. If I know there's a lot of people here who would like to ask questions. If you could summarize it, then we'll get a chance to talk to you. If you would, we'd appreciate that. If you can do that.
What, comrade?
We would like to ask you questions. Do you think you could pause so we can ask?
I can't hear you, comrade.
Can you pause so we can ask
Yes.
questions?
Yes,
She
yes.
wants
Ask
to
questions.
ask questions.
Yes. Ask questions.
All right. Thank you. Anyone at this time who would like to ask a question, please raise your hand. And I will start with one. And then all of a sudden, of course, the hands go up. You keep on saying we have no option but to fight. And you also mentioned that you have had to do
The
this.
microphone is muted. Your video is stopped. Why?
So my question to you is this peasant movement new, or has it been around for years because you have had to fight before? You have to unmute. You have to unmute, Sankar, to
Yes.
answer the question. Okay.
Okay.
Comrade, it is better to invite questions through text, comrade, because the accent is, some may cannot understand the accent. So invite the questions through text. Text message.
All right, I'll let Angelo speak. His accent might be better.
Comrade, please repeat your questions, please.
Okay, comrade. In your talk, you say that working people, the farmers, the workers in India have to stand up and be respected. They have to fight and struggle against the capitalist. You mentioned that many times. Our question for you is, how is the struggle going in India now, today? At what point do you think the struggle, the fight is at? That is our question to you. And we cannot spend a long time because the machine on this phone call goes off automatically. They time us. So we have to try to use things quickly. What do you say to that question?
Very fine, comrade. I have just realized your question. The present condition is a joint struggle is going on against privatization by the workers and peasants jointly. On 28th and 29th of March, coming, 10 trade unions, all India trade unions, called a nationwide strike, 48 hours strike, national strike, in which all the peasant organizations, SKM is a partner, they are extending support. So at present, the struggle is gaining momentum. In spite of all its shortcomings, it is gaining momentum day by day. Workers, peasants, unity is growing, and that is the hope before us. We are sure that we will be able to build up a mighty movement of the workers and peasants. That is why we raised this slogan, workers and peasants unity. Let us unite against capital in India and its fire. That is so, comrade.
Thank you. Thank you, comrade. One more question, and then we'll go to the next person who would like to ask a question. The government you have now, Modi, is that the government you have now, correct?
Yes, yes.
Do you consider it a fascist
Yes.
government?
Yes, Modi is a fascist government, arch-fascist, worst representative of Indian capital, worst representative. He is an out-and-out fascist government. We consider the government as fascist.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anyone who wants to ask a question? Xavier, ask comrade a question.
Okay.
Bye.
Slow,
So-
very slow.
All right. So with the growing workers and peasants movement, are there any reactionary groups who have attempted to co-opt the energy of that movement for their own ends in India?
What do you actually mean, comrade? Please speak clearly.
The word co-op is not understood.
Okay, I'll rephrase it. Are there any reactionary groups in India that have attempted to take advantage of the growing workers and peasants movement and steal the energy from it for their own goals?
There is no question. There is no question of developing. There is no question of encouraging any reactionary forces from this movement, comrade. Our movement is progressive and revolutionary. We not only fight against capital in the economic field, we are fighting the capital in also philosophical field, and moral field, in cultural field. We are trying to build up scientific bent of mind among the masses. That is why there is no possibility of any reactionary group to take advantage of this movement, of this worker peasant movement. Rather, this workers peasants movement destroyed the planning, hindered the planning of communalization of the entire people. In our movement, I will say later on, comrade, on this point, this movement democratized our entire northern India, helped to democratize entire northern India. On that point, I will tell you later on, comrade. No question of that.
Thank you. Thank you, comrade. Andy from Washington State, slowly make sure the words we use are understood.
Definitely, I have understood. But comrade, can you understand my accent?
Yes.
We can
yes.
understand you well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I have a question about a statement that the AIKKMS released recently about the success of the peasants' protests. An attack on a sit-in that occurred on the 29th of January, 2021 was mentioned. And the group perpetrating the attack was called the RSS. Can you explain who these are and what their relationship is to the BJP so that we can understand this better?
All right, comrade, I will speak just after 10 minutes on this point. In
Thank
my
you.
discussion, I will answer your questions. Thank you, comrade.
Okay, thank you. Cameron.
Then should I start?
Cameron from
Well, there's
Oregon.
Canamoy. We have Canamoy Deb. They had their hand up before Cameron. Canamoy Deb? You have your hand up?
Comrade, should I start?
No, go ahead, Cameron. We have one more question.
If Sankar
Oh,
wanted
all
to
right.
respond. Oh, okay. So my question is, what can us Americans do to help you in your struggle from here?
Yes, comrade, I will answer to your question in the concluding part of my speech. Clear? In the concluding part of my speech, I will place before you this question, comrade. Thank you, comrade.
No,
Right.
there are no.
Uh,
All right.
Karen,
Hmm.
did you tell our speaker what time we have to end the meeting?
I had told him about an hour and a half.
Okay, how
How many
more?
times?
How many more minutes do we have? Because the machinery will stop at a certain
Oh.
point.
No, it won't. No. It's 10:30. Sankar, if you want to give a summary now, that would be great.
What I need is only 10 minutes. Is it okay?
Oh, yeah, that'll be fine. Thanks.
I will finish within 10 minutes. All right, comrade?
Correct.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And now, comrade, in this battle, so many organizations took part, and our organizations also took part in a beautiful manner. Our organizations also took part in beautiful manner. One comrade asked me a question about our statement on 29th of January. What happened then? What role AIKKMS played? KKMS played the role that On 29th of January, RSS is the mentor of BJP, a hardcore right reactionary fascist force, armed force, practically father of BJP. RSS means Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangha. They organized goons from the different parts of the state and attacked Singhu border. This RSS is the mentor of BJP. Mind it, it's a fascist organization. Like Gestapo of Germany. On that very day, to resist that RSS force, we organized peasants from the nearby villages. We organized 15,000 peasants, 1,000 tractors, 700 motorcycles, thousands and thousands of people who came forward under our leadership and registered RSS. Registered RSS. It was one of the important role we played in the movement. We played a movement when the Supreme Court government gave us a promise that we will withhold the 3 acts up to 1.5 hours. Then a vacillation came in the meeting within AIKKM. Then our organization AIKKMS stood firm and said, no withhold. You got to repeal them altogether. That was the role played by our organization. What we gained from the movement? The movement taught us one thing. If people are united, if people can fight with correct ideology, firmly, then people can defeat. This movement again invented one thing. That is, it is not the government. That is the enemy of the people. The main enemy of the people is the class. That's why people at large said that Modi is nothing but the mask of Adani and Ambani, mask of the corporates. This movement created this class consciousness. This class consciousness is an essential part to develop movement in future. To develop movement in future. To develop revolutionary movement. Revolutionary class consciousness. Workers and peasant unity will be built up on the basis of that. But our movement lacks one thing, comrade, which our one comrade asked me what we demand. Our movement lacks one thing. That is international connection. We have no connection internationally. This movement had no connection internationally. What we feel urgently, that an international forum, international platform of the revolutionary progressive forces, progressive peasant organizations should be formed. And our American comrades, US comrades, jointly with us, should take initiative to form an international platform of the peasants to develop and struggle against the imperialism, capitalism. That is a must. That is a must. In this August moment, in this August discussion, I like to invite our comrades of Agricultural Rural Commission of Party of the Communists in United States of America to join one of our meetings and place a discussion before us on the question of the problems of peasantry in USA and how you are fighting against your rulers. That means the imperialists of USA. So I hope that you will accept our invitation. Then we will arrange a Zoom meeting like this where you will speak, and our comrades will put some questions before you, just to know. And in this way, our relations will be better, our understanding will be better. We will come in close contact with each other. We will know each other. We will go hand in hand to fight against capitalism, imperialism all over the world. Long live our friendship. Long live peasant movement. Long live workers' peasant unity. Long live Marxism-Leninism. Long live our struggle, joint struggle. Red salute to the comrades. Red salute to all of you comrades.
Cole, do you want to wrap it up? And do we take
Wow.
his invitation? Yeah, do we take his invitation?
I think we'll have to make sure that everybody is of a mind, but I can so confidently say that we would love your invitation. We would love to accept your invitation, comrade. That would be amazing.
Thank you. Thank you,
All right.
Comrade Cole. All right, all right.
Thank you, Comrade Sankar. It has
Thank
been
you,
a pleasure
Comrade.
to set this up for
Yes,
the
yes.
past couple of months.
Yes, we will continue. Yes.
We will continue, Comrade. Yes, yes, we will continue.
We continue. We continue.
Comrades, this is a beginning. Comrade
This is the
Ghosh, this
beginning.
is a beginning
Beginning.
to work together. Not only with us, but we need to have an international movement of communists. We need to go back to an international like we had years ago, where we were all on the same page. We all fought together, shoulder to shoulder, against capitalism. And when a victory of the people in Vietnam in 1975, that was a victory for the American people. That was a victory for the people in India. That was a victory for the people in Russia, in China. So a victory of any communist movement is our victory. And a defeat for communists in India is a defeat for communists in America. It's a defeat for communists in Europe. So we have an international movement and we have to stand together. And that's why we need to be active together. We are brothers and sisters in the same struggle, the struggle against exploitation of capitalism, what it does to the human condition, the exploiting of one man to live off the labor of another person is not right. It is wrong. It is immoral, and it is against everything we stand for. So we agree with you. This was a beginning. Right now in the world, imperialism through the US, through NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and native fascism in the Ukraine and other places is trying to destroy the workers' movement. Let's not kid ourselves. That's what's going on now around the world. And we have to stand shoulder to shoulder. And that's why we asked you for this meeting. Now, we had 115 people here at one point. That is a very good number. Many of them came from India. We saw that in the names. It was nice to see people's faces, to see our comrades. Behind us, you see we have Comrade Lenin and Comrade Marx. They are the same parents to you people and our people, the same parents, Lenin and Marx. And so we stay together. This is a long live the Socialist Unity Center of India. Long live the Party of Communists of the USA. Long live our struggles and fraternal relationship We clan hand in hand. You are our brothers and we are your brothers and sisters. It's the same. And we want to thank you for your discussion tonight. This is just the beginning, comrade. We will take you up on your offer and do this again in the near future. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. This was great. And
Take
thank you,
care. Good
Sankar.
night.
Night.
Good
And
night.
And good morning.
No, it is morning, comrade.
Good morning.
Here it is
Yeah,
morning.
good morning.